NCRP Productions presents Torg Eternity by Ulisses Spiele. The Breifne Crown. Episode 21.
So Aaron, your character awakens groggily and realizes that you are in a standing position, unable to lean forward or backward due to the sharp metal spikes that are acutely reminding you to stand perfectly still. You look around, blink at your surroundings, and see you on appear was to be some type of underground lair, and suspended high up in the air. You look down below. Far beneath your feet is a pool of water. Something, or many somethings, seem to be thrashing and violently disturbing the water. A menacing voice cuts the night, sending a shiver down your spine, a voice dripping with contempt and malice. "Ah, our guest is awake. It would be rude to kill him while he slept. I thought you would have been a worthy adversary, one that could challenge the might of the Amaranthine Spectre. But sadly, you will now die. My pets of sharks and crocodiles are hungry, so I must thank you for volunteering to feed them for me." The specter reaches over and pulls a lever on the panel he's standing in front of, and your cage starts to slowly cheek lower to the thrashings of the water. "Any last words you are just dying to say?"
You'll never get away with this, Amaranthian.
And then the sheen cuts. The rest of the group, after the fight that you guys just had, everyone's still breathing heavy, still sweaty. You come up to the last door waiting. The light above it is flickering just back and forth, and you can hear the buzz of the electricity as the door stands in front of you. What do you guys do?
Should we go in?
Let's go in.
Who
Boss,
reaches
we going
out?
in?
I don't know where we are. What's going on?
Who reaches out to open the door? So you open the door and trust it. It's unlocked and it opens, and you look down inside and you see a stairwell, a set of stairs that goes down and down this long stairwell.
Azrael, you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll head up the back.
So Max heads down, Iara,
Yep.
and then Eva's with you, and then
At
Azrael.
this point, I flick out slashers.
Slashers, they snicked out. When everybody comes in, maybe about 5 steps down, you actually hear the door slam behind you, and you hear this audible, this click. Everybody needs to make a dex check.
No.
Oh, very no.
2.
I rolled a 1.
20.
20. So all of a sudden you hear the click, and then the stairs themselves seem to fold in and of itself and becomes just a flat slide. It's nice and slick, and everybody comes sliding down, just gaining speed, except for Max. You hear it, and then just throw out your spikes and dig into the wall and prevent your descent. The rest of you slide down. Boom! You slam up against glass after what seems like an eternity. And the glass wall you look is actually, it's a panel that's inside, and you can see inside this pool is just this deep and looks like sharks and alligators are just swimming and thrashing in around. You hear a voice come out from the night. "They're here to save their friends. Kill them." So when you hear that, you look up and you see, just like on this balconies that were covered in the dark, people stepping out, and you see these big goons and thugs just dressed in these black suits with purple pinstripes, lowering down Tommy guns. And at that, the scene fades to black, and white lettering seems to come across and says, "Several days earlier." "Hi, my name's Greg, and welcome to a Sunday of Possibilities. I am your ref for our game of Torg, and at this point I'll go and have our characters introduce themselves."
I am Aaron. I'm playing Ufa Ali, the marksman from the Nile Empire.
It's Victoria. I am playing Iara Bay, the elf necromancer from Isle.
Hey, it's Barry. I am running Max Elite, the freedom fighter from Tharkold.
And this is Shan. I'm Azrael, the cyber witch from the cyber papacy. Did you die last time?
We also don't know what that scene was.
No, I mean, weren't you from...
Oh, right.
He was.
Lands?
That's a different
was.
thing. Yes.
I was Tristan. Yes.
This is what happens when real life affects fake life.
So,
that's right.
as to help answer that question, Aaron, why don't you give us the recap, and then we'll go ahead and I'll plug in to paint a picture of what Shan missed last session.
All right. Well, from what I remember, we had made our way to the Statue of Liberty. And we made our way up the stairs leading to a whole flat, basically within the
Up in the crown.
Up in the crown. And inside, as I crossed that threshold, I left the Living Lands and entered a different cosm,
Which core Earth cosm.
Yeah, it was a
Point.
core Earth
Hard
hard
point.
point.
which caused me to remember that I'm not from the Living Lands, actually from the Nile Empire. So, my name is actually Ufa Ali, and I am a marksman, so I use, pistols.
How'd you get from the Nile Empire into the Living Lands?
I was on the hunt for the Amaranthi Inspector, and I was pulled to this area of the world, because I thought that's where he was. I had borrowed a plane from a friend, and unfortunately, I crashed that plane.
After it hit a reality storm.
Yeah.
He can fly planes.
I can fly planes.
Necessary skill.
Yes. But I do now owe my friend a whole plane. So that's going to be fun to come across, I'm sure.
Okay.
He also started pulling out like guns and
Yeah,
all
I
kinds
have,
of
I have
stuff.
like two 1911s. I got a
Bam.
rifle. I got brass
Okay.
knuckles and all kinds of stuff, like a walkie-talkie, binoculars, and things like that. That was all in my bag the whole time.
Really?
Yeah. No one asked
Okay.
what was in it, so they didn't know.
Just carrying it around, just like ignoring it yourself, like
Because I didn't know what it was. Yeah.
He just knew to carry the bag.
I knew that it was mine.
But didn't
Or
know
that
it
they
was-
told me it was mine. And so it's like, well, I have to. This is mine. I don't know how any of this stuff works, but it's mine, so it's going to stay with me.
So at this point, Tristan's gone.
Yeah.
Continue.
All right. So upon entering this area, we find that it's set up like like a chapel in a way, where there's like an altar at the front and then lots of benches and tables along the way. And I believe it was...
You're wondering who the father's name is?
Yeah, Father Flint, which is a
Adinos.
that has changed to the Earth Cosm, or the core Earth Cosm.
So he's still in Dinos, but he's actually part of the core Earth cosm.
So he transformed to core Earth.
And accepted Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior.
on that.
He didn't realize that Jesus was really a lizard.
Velociraptor Jesus. It all makes sense now.
Velocipaster.
Velocipast. From now on. But with that being said, he gave us a heading for where this shard that we were looking for, where it actually was being taken to. So he had accepted two red Adinos or red, I forgot what the name.
Red Jaws.
Red Jaw Adinos into his flock, and they ended up betraying them and killing a bunch and injuring everybody. And the only two people that were really left was
Father
Flint and then
Sharktooth.
Sharktooth, hoo-ha-ha. So they give us a heading as to where they went afterwards, and we went out there.
He also had the Declaration of Independence, like the actual Declaration of Independence,
okay.
Like in the
in some
plexiglass.
plexiglass, and so, and he was that Statue of Liberty was like slowly being taken over by the Living Lands, and so he's like, I said I would stay, but now all the people I was like protecting are gone, so we got Agent Jones to take him and the Declaration of Independence because we thought that might be important to the North
Did
American
Nicolas Cage
people.
show up anywhere in this?
We didn't even look for him.
Yeah, I
That's how shitty a Storm Knights we are.
He was very taken with the Second Amendment.
yes, he was.
And
Yes,
it gave us all manner of weaponry
yes.
because a well-regulated militia.
He was like, if you need anything, and then there was just like banks of firearms.
Right, think any show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Fast and the Furious, Batman, when they
Push a
open
button,
up
the wall slides
Yep,
down.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Just M416s, I mean, whatever you need.
Yes.
We got a bunch of grenades as well, which helped us a lot.
Yes.
They did.
Yep.
And sent us towards New Jersey.
30 miles southwest of the statue, we were sent to Lake Lefferts, or Lefferts Lake, one way or the other. When we got there, we were uncertain what we were looking for. We spent time searching the banks. Eventually, Sharktooth swam into the water, assuming there might be something there. We found a hole in the middle of the lake. The lake used to be a man-made lake. It's not anymore. It's converting over to the Living Lands. So Sharktooth came back, said there's a hole down there, and over time we learned what the hole was, the length of the hole. We went into it. It's hours deep for us. We went in
I went through a dramatic scene on my own and survived it.
Yep.
Every single roll that I needed to make.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we came in at the end of this effectively insanely long tunnel. We found a room that appeared to not be part of the Living Lands or
It was the Living Lands
Isle.
and Isle.
Right.
It was a mixed
mixed
Yeah.
zone. And inside there, we saw a few of the Adinos, we saw the shard that we needed, and we saw an opening portal. So,
Well,
they were
portal wasn't opening yet. It
so
was
the Red Jaws were discussing meeting
yes.
someone. Sharktooth was able to hear, and
Sorry.
that's still funny. Sharktooth was able to hear and interpret that they were meeting somebody and determined to be the Lady Nightbird they were meeting.
So we busted in because we didn't want to meet the Lady Nightbird, and so we wanted to take out the Adinos. There was 5 like regular Adinos and then 2 beefy Adinos.
Two scarred Red Jaws.
Yeah, and then we kicked ass.
yep. But you should tell us how it ended.
Yeah, so
Because it was talk about dramatic scenes.
yeah.
epic.
So we kicked ass. We killed all of them. I had buried a few of them, and one had gotten completely obliterated by. Was it you? With the bomb, with the grenade.
I don't remember who, but
One of
somebody
the-
did. Was
yeah.
it me?
Yeah.
One of the beefy
See, I
ones.
did something good finally.
One of the beefy ones got obliterated by Max's grenade, and the other one was still buried, and we figured one of them had the shard on
Shard.
it. So while they were trying to find the shard, I was turning him into a zombie. While our countdown, we had a die countdown of when Lady Nightbird was going to be coming, and my final spell turned it to she's coming. As they took off running with the shard, and the portal opened, and I sent my zombie at her, and it came up with flurry, so I got two rounds
Of running.
of running, and she got distracted by my zombie, and so we got away.
Oh,
It was good.
It was insane.
Surprise zombie.
Yes.
So we
Distraction zombie.
came out of there, went back to the hard point at the statue, had an airdrop of rafts. The idea being that if they drop a ton of rafts, some of them will survive the reality conversion and not be wooden sticks when they landed. 4 of them survived, and we left, and we're now with Jones again.
Yes.
So Azrael stayed behind at the request of Jones to be able to help facilitate the airdrop.
Make sure Father Flint survived.
And
the
then
Velocipaster.
Yeah.
yes. And then both Father Flint and Sharktooth agreed to accompany you guys back to Jones. So when you return to Jones with 2 possible Delphi Council members or, future Storm Knights,
And
the
the
Breifne
Declaration of
Shard
Independence.
and the Declaration of Independence.
That's a wild story.
This is why I love Torg.
100%. Like, you would never get something like this from D&D.
So the end of it was Jones telling us that there's been a little more information. We have a few possible options. One is in the Paris, France location, because again, Paris is a huge city even today. There are 3 possible options. They think it's going to either be at the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, or the Bastille. In Aroche, they are thinking it is potentially in Gundu village, which is a village of about 200 people, but it is deep inside Aroche territory. They think potentially on Rashiri Island, because these are all the places that we saw in the pictures from...
The
The
Lion's
ears were
Den
nailed?
at Tharkold.
Yeah,
Where
where
all
the
the
ears
ears
were
were
nailed,
nailed?
exactly. So Rashiri Island, there's a prison, Rashiri Prison, on the north end of the island, owned and run by a company called Kanawa Corps. And then the last one is University of... I didn't write it down, but there's a university... Which one?
The University of Benghazi.
University of Benghazi in Libya.
Professor Espartes.
We're supposed to talk with that guy, the Professor Espartes, who is renowned in reality. So that was the one we decided we were going to follow.
And hence the in media res as we introduced to the Nile Empire. So everyone got 5 experience points. And did everyone decide on what they're going to spend it on, or are they going to bank it?
Banking.
A copy?
I bought my decks up finally after 3 experience payments.
I'm banking it, so I've used we've had 30, is that what you said?
We're at 25 right now.
We've had 25 experience, and I'm banking 10 total so far.
And I'm going to bank it as well.
Sounds good. And then 50 experience points is when you get to beta level within the Delphi Council. So you guys are halfway there.
Which opens up, for me, I know it opens up some spells that I can't access right now.
Yeah, there's some
Absolutely.
stuff for me that I can't get at unless I'm beta.
Absolutely. All right. So when you're out at sea after picking up or getting picked up rafting for a long ass way when you're leaving Living Lands, but you guys get picked up, and after a quick briefing, you had decided that you were going to go and attempt to get as much information that you can from a Professor Aspartes, a renowned scholar in reality.
So how do we get there?
So the Delphi Council, the North Atlantic Naval Command, will arrange for transportation. And what Jones tells you is that right now, the eastern country of Libya is within Nile reality, but the western half is still core Earth. So Tripoli has been set up as a staging point for the Middle Eastern Alliance of core Earth resistance.
Tripoli.
There we go.
Why does that sound familiar, that name?
Yeah.
Well, there was
That's
a
it.
movie.
It's the song. I was feeling like there was a song, but I wasn't.
It is a song.
And that's where you guys are en route right now.
How many days does it take to fly there?
You're,
And boat and plane and all that.
yeah, it's going to take a couple days. So the problem with flying over there is... Actually, let me take that back. You're going to go ahead and land in the Nance Command and then fly down because it's still within core Earth. So it's only going to take about 2 days to actually land in Tripoli.
With stops and boat rides and skirting the realities, et cetera, et cetera.
Right. So and any reality that you're going to fly over, like Isle and the Cyber Papacy, you're going to fly over it. So it's not going to be impacted by their reality.
Now, are we learning that there's a height
That's what I was
to...
just
Like the cap to it,
Yes.
so we can go over the top.
Yes.
Interesting.
Wow.
It's not like
I just it's
Yeah.
infinitely that way.
Yeah,
Right.
That's what
thought
I
it
was
just like,
picturing, too.
boom. Like,
Also,
So they're bubbles.
is somebody doing any kind of risk assessment about reality storms? Because I would not like to have a reenactment of what happened last time.
When you ask that question, what Jones tells you is that reality storms are 100% completely unpredictable. It is a clash of realities, and they've never dealt with anything like this before. The other stormers or high lords may have a better idea, but they suspect that they don't even know how to control it just because of the volatile nature of a reality clash. They do call it a reality wash when there is a clash of different realities, and it has the capacity to change reality, but there's no way to predict it. My best advice, stay away from them.
that's
Noted.
not helpful, but okay.
This whole damn invasion isn't helpful to us. We just have to learn to deal with it.
I beg to differ. I'm just saying, everybody's working together right now, and that's pretty great.
He shakes his head, muttering something about optimism and fools.
On the plane ride over, is it possible for me to go into the cockpit essentially and just kind of get a feel for what flying
A modern
of
plane is
this
like,
capacity would be like?
Versus a biplane.
Because I'm used to you turn the key, pull the knob, spin the prop, and off we go.
For a storm knight, yeah, it's a Delphi controlled plane, and you're a storm knight, so I don't think they would have an issue with somebody sitting back and up
Yeah.
into the cockpit and then answering questions, with out of professional curiosity.
Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, not like a 5-year-old in like the 50s being like, "Oh, what's in here?"
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, I'm not going to try to fly it unless you want me to fly it. I'll totally fly it."
Yeah. Or the pilot asks you, have you ever seen a grown man naked?
We have to blow up
Do you like gladiator movies?
Quick, we need our co-pilot.
Roger. No, that's not like that.
Yeah, okay, good. Good lord. All right. Well, I'm glad I'm able to go in there and take a look and see kind of how everything works now. I mean, I probably won't get it, but because there's a lot more to it.
In the event that, the pilots die and you have to fly, you think you may?
Yeah, I might make it. Yeah. I at least
general
understand
concept is
like
the same.
We won't die when we crash.
yeah. See, that's good. Yeah.
The
We'll
general
take us
concept is
all the
still the
way to the scene of the crash.
All right. Anybody, any questions or then while you're traveling and, while you're en route to Tripoli?
Do they have anything for us that will aid us in this particular reality? Because we got like Tharkold armor when we were in Tharkold, and we had Isle clothes when we were in Isle.
So Jones
Had
tells
nothing
you.
when we were in the Living Lands.
Besides bugs and starving.
Literally nothing.
Jones tells you that when he is, while you guys are en route, he has scheduled a briefing with Musa Najafi. He is Delphi Council high ranking, and he is currently the special agent in charge in Libya. We didn't know which new reality or which area you're going to go to, so we didn't have time to set up a more thorough briefing. I'm hoping that Musa will be able to provide you in more information when we get there.
Copy.
Will there be transportation secured to get across the deserts?
Again, I'm going to have to rely on Musa there. That's
Okay.
his area. He's the SAC, and he's thorough. Former head of Iranian Ministry of Intelligence, so
Perfect.
he knows his job.
Okay. Yep. I'm sure he's not going to just say, go walking.
So where is the University of Benghazi? Is it across the reality? Is it in Nile Empire?
It is in the Nile Empire reality.
How did we find out about Professor Espartes?
The location that you provided after returning from Tharkold, our analysts went out and tried to make a determination of what significance the university had. There was no cultural significance. It only became the University of Benghazi 20 years ago. Before that, it was like Grayson University or some other bullshit. But during that research, one of our analysts found the name Aspartes, and it sounds like he was a instructor there, may have been transformed in the reality, and part of that transformation was a knowledge of reality. So right now he is renowned as an expert in reality, something that Core Earth doesn't have. Part of what we expect you to do as Delphi Council members is attempt to recruit him for the Delphi Council.
So wait, there's been no contact? We don't know if he's going to be partial to our cause even?
Unfortunately, no. Right now, it appears Benghazi is a staging point for the Pharaoh Mobius and a pending invasion. It looks like Mobius is going on the offensive.
So Mobius is the High Lord?
He is the High Lord of the Nile Empire.
Have you had dealings with him? Ufa?
I know of him. I usually call him.
Everybody knows him, yeah.
I mean, like, I deal with... I've never dealt with him personally, but I deal with the consequences of his inadequacies.
Wow. Okay.
One of the things that you also know of the Pharaoh is he is very hands-on. He's the type that will be leading his, large armies, the one actually leading them in battle.
Yeah, he's like the pharaohs of old. He's in front.
Or he also might be the one to show up in a small little conflict with only 2 or 3 people
To solve a problem. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So he's very, very hands-on.
Yeah, so I relay that information to everybody else.
Yeah. So at this point, quite honestly, we don't know the damned hornet's nest that you might be going into in Benghazi right now.
I mean, could you give me a bulletproof vest or something?
I'm sure once we get into Tripoli, Musa will be able to provide what basic gear you might need.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
Is Musa going to be traveling with us?
I doubt it.
Do we have a liaison that's going with us? Do we have somebody that's going to lead us through this, or are you expecting Ufa to do that?
So, from what you had said, it sounded like you have a liaison here. Unfortunately, due to the high activity of Mobius's troops, we had to pull out our safe house. Our agents there were discovered in Benghazi, so there's not much once you get inside that the Delphi Council can be able to provide while you're in.
So, Ufa, where do you hail from?
Cairo, in specific.
And how far is this from Cairo?
Tripoli's pretty far.
Tripoli's pretty far. I mean, it's what, Libya, and then Egypt's right next to it, but Cairo is still...
It's on, yeah.
Assume I don't know this planet. So, if there's a distance, do you know much of this Libya place?
I mean, we didn't do a whole lot of... I was originally in the military. We didn't do a whole lot of operations in Libya, but I understand geographic locations, so it should not be too hard to navigate the way we need to.
Okay.
Unfortunately, there's not much more I can tell you until we at least get to Tripoli and brief with Musa.
But I tell you, I hope this crown is as important as it useful as it seems, because this is a lot of work.
I just put it up on real Google Maps, and that's really far.
Yeah, it's pretty far.
Real Google Maps is the planet we're on, so.
I, like, out of character is what I meant. Like, I was like, thinking in my head, I'm not sure I know where these places are, so I looked it up and I was like, oh, that is far. I don't think Azrael would have access to Google Maps, but she does.
No, but the Delphi Council would, based on the the pre-invasion maps, which may not be completely accurate, but are going to be reasonably accurate. We would have access to those.
Yeah, it may not have the storms and stuff, but it should have the.
Yeah, and I apologize. I forgot my big maps. I changed new bags. So as you can see right in here, and Jones can show you guys this. So Cairo is where the bridge lie down, and it is a pure zone.
Oof.
Yeah. So Cairo right now is not a good place to be because and everyone in Cairo loves the Pharaoh.
We don't believe we are going to Cairo presently.
At present, no. Where you guys are at,
We're going to Tripoli, which is outside any of the purple.
correct.
Right, but eventually we're going inside.
And then Benghazi is right on the coast in the Libyan Bay. So it's a mixed zone of core earth and Nile, but Benghazi itself is actually right in a dominant zone.
And remind us again, what is the difference between a mixed zone and a dominant zone and a pure zone for issues we're going to have?
So in a mixed zone, the axioms of whatever two realities are present and mixing are both present.
And that would be core
Earth.
Earth. So that's good for us.
So that's good for, well,
And it's good. No, it's not good for
because
us.
none of you are from core Earth.
That's right. Okay.
So it's core Earth and Nile. Now, a dominant zone it's purely that reality. Game mechanics, when it comes, if you disconnect in a dominant zone, it's a -8 penalty to reconnect.
Okay.
Unless you have Realm Runner and you can ignore the first disconnection.
That's correct.
How about a pure zone?
Pure zone, I haven't looked at the rules for a pure zone when it comes to disconnect, because you guys haven't been in one yet.
Well, we were in Living Lands. We were.
No, using a dominant zone.
We were in a dominant zone. Okay.
Right. So right now, for the realities where a bridge has dropped, those areas are pure zones.
So another reason not to go to Paris.
And the other thing too, Orosh, the Gaunt Man, and his strategy is, instead of expanding out like the other High Lords have, he is strengthening his position and turning dominant zones into pure Orosh zones. So that's how his strength, and he's able to get stronger and once he gets entrenched. So most of Orosh are pure zones.
Interesting.
That's horrible.
Yeah, so that's pretty terrifying. But game mechanics wise, I haven't looked at it yet.
Okay.
That bodes well for us.
Does it?
For the moment.
So other than that, any other conversations, any other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
I want to show her my new bow. I got a new bow also.
Oh, yes.
Bow of Talk Soft.
What does it do?
It's got 14 damage and then +2 armor piercing, no matter what kind of arrow I use.
It is a relic, basically.
Yes, that the Living Lands helped preserve relics and then would just let them be known at some point, and it was known.
It's a famous, I don't remember the story, but you listen to last week's episode, there it is.
Yes.
It's a famous Indian commander?
Algonquin war captain.
Good, good.
He was really good, but then
Never lost a battle?
never lost a battle, but ended up being this. He wasn't remembered throughout time because people didn't like him for some reason. I don't remember.
Bad
why.
PR.
Yeah.
People thought he was touched in the head
Yes.
because he spoke often about foreign invaders.
Yeah. And Father Flint gave me the bow, right?
Father Flint had
Yeah.
the bow.
Yes. So that was another thing from the previous.
Was this guy a real person? From
In real life?
yeah.
I have no idea.
Talk soft.
Talk soft.
Talk soft.
Yeah, so I mean, out of character. No, I made him up. but-
Okay. Well, that's why I asked. 'Cause I didn't know if you put a real person.
No, but it sounded very plausible.
Sure, that's why I was gonna
You
believe
have
you.
where it's touched in the head.
And the insinuation was he may have known about these invaders hundreds of years ago.
Or maybe there was a previous invasion.
Or
We
previous
know
attempt
there was at least one attempt in the 60s?
at Roswell.
No, in the 40s then, right? The 40s, 50s?
It was.
Damn, I can't remember.
Oh,
No, I'm thinking
shit.
it's 52 now.
Yeah. So
But
I think it was in the
so
50s.
we know that there was at least one other attempt for sure. So other attempts in ages past.
But one of the things with Earth's possibility energy, it is so vast and so powerful. So when a bridge was first touched down on Earth in Roswell, people there were able to fend off and Earth itself fought back. But simultaneously, the Gaunt Man invaded the reality that was attempting to invade Earth. And he saw a glimpse of Earth's vast possibility energy and realized that if he tried to invade, it would overwhelm him. So that's what led him to creating the alliance of multiple invasions. All right, so you guys end up touching down in Tripoli. And
Sorry, just real quick. Also, the bow has like red and blue within it. So
The reality,
what?
the reality colors.
Yeah.
The reality
Okay.
storm
yeah,
colors.
that like are mixed within the
Okay.
bow.
so
Sorry.
the limbs and risers are potentially possibility shards.
It's a very fancy bow.
All right, so when you guys touch down in Tripoli, it is coming into night. And one of the things that you notice is just a massive, massive staging point for troops. And so what Jones had said kind of magnified. As a matter of fact, Jones looks concerned about the amount of troop activity and staging that's occurring right now in Tripoli.
This is staging on the Nile side or our side or Core Earth side.
Core Earth side in Tripoli.
Wow. Okay. And why? I'm going to ask.
And so Jones says, I don't know, unless troop movement has increased or there's signs of a pending invasion. That's the only thing I can think of.
Is Tripoli not part of the Delphi Council? I mean, the troops are not being brought together by the Delphi Council?
No, the thousands and thousands of years of conflict within the Middle East has made organizing an alliance here difficult. So, for example, Israel refuses to work with the AEE and vice versa. We finally were able to get cooperation from Iran, hence we had Musa here, and Libya broke off from the rest of the Emirates and reached out to the Delphi Council and the United States, and that's why we're able to stage here. But it's, despite a reality invasion, still can't get past historical grudges and anger and hatred and for the betterment of all.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
That they can't, put the fate of the Earth before their own petty squabbles.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to say, but no, it could potentially lead to the downfall of the Middle East. As of right now, there's a tentative standstill as Mobius has not been seeking to expand except southward into Africa, but it appears that it looks like he might be trying to expand westward, and then it's just a matter of time before they continue their invasion in Israel.
Well, I say we get the shard and we put the crown together to stop that. Maybe this is the first place we go.
Maybe. But again, we won't be able to know more until we get inside and speak with Musa. This is just as the plane's taxiing that this conversation is going on, and just even out from here, from the airfield, you can see just sides are now lined with different fighter jets, and you know, off in the distance you can see the lights as different camps are set up. Out in the Mediterranean Sea, you can see just like a fleet amassing. I mean, this not just air and ground, but also sea is staging. So it looks like a battle is just waiting to break out.
Do we know against whom?
It has to be Mobius.
One would hope.
Do they think they are prepared to take him on?
Well, Mobius's technology we can defeat easily handed. Just hands down. The Israelis showed that they was mopping the floor with his war forces until Mobius launched his most dastardly weapon, the reality bombs.
What is a reality bomb?
Mobius has been able to harness the Nile reality in projectile weapons. He fires them on the troops, which then creates a reality wash and transforms their technology to Mobius's. And once and then, now he's fighting in his home ground.
Evening the playing field.
Well, perhaps not evening. He has the
Tipping
distinct advantage because soldiers are caught in the reality wash and the confusion and don't know what to do with, if they don't transform, then they're lost within that. So again, you can, as Jones is talking, you can see he seems to be agitated, kind of confused, concerned. Yeah, absolutely.
Finish taxiing.
Yeah, so finish taxiing. When you guys get ready, there's a caravan of just, blacked out SUVs, 4 of them waiting for you. And so they hustle you out, or Jones hustles you out. He takes the lead car, and everyone else follows in. Inside, you can see soldiers in full-blown kit in the front and driver's seat, and they are on high alert.
This is concerning.
I asked the soldiers if they know what's going on.
We're just waiting to go kick some ass.
Anything specific? Apparently Mobius is possibly going to be attacking.
He looks at you.
You
Do you see any brass on my collar? Fuck if I know.
You're where you're supposed to be told,
or
you're where you're told to be.
Just like you.
Gotcha.
He's like, beer?
I'll take a couple.
And
Beer.
the guys...
I thought you said here.
Oh, no, beer.
Beer. Yeah.
I'm okay, thank you.
And you guys drive into the city. So the city looks like and has been changed to where it's defensively, and different main thoroughfares you can see are now armed and kind of created just a nice long funnel of attack. So if it does end up getting invaded, they can try to do as much damage on it. Different parts of the streets have been actually crumpled to enforce troop movement into these strategic funnels. As you kind of lean out and look up into the buildings, you can see definite artillery set up on top and soldier barracks up on top as they're preparing. One of the things that you've noticed one of the soldiers will say is like, if the reality does change this, it typically doesn't change the geography in and of itself. So the streets will remain the same, buildings may change, but we can just do our best to try to set up.
Have you been through a change?
No, I haven't.
How do you know about it?
It's what we're told.
Okay.
Like, have you guys ever fought any of the shock troopers before?
Not yet. What can you tell us?
I was hoping you might be able to tell us something.
Actually, Ufa, can you tell us much about the troopers?
So from what I know, they're fanatical. They generally roll in with like MP40s, if I'm not mistaken, or is it K81s?
I don't recall, but you do know that they carry reality grenades.
Yeah. They also carry reality grenades.
And so they'll throw and create little pockets of reality that they can fight in. So that gives them a great advantage when someone's, MP4 all of a sudden changes to, a Thompson.
Yeah. So,
and these reality grenades, when the reality pops out, it's always Nile?
Always Nile.
Does it eventually wear off, or is it
A permanent.
Typically at that point, there's been enough for that reality to take over.
Yeah, if they're that close, it's usually a pretty good indication it's going to stay that way.
okay? Interesting.
Something else I want to talk about, but I can't do it around the troopers, so...
All right, they drive you in. You get to HQ of the Delphi Council, and by now it's around 10 p.m. at night. And Jones says, said, wait here, I'll see if Musa's ready for us. I want to know what the hell's going on. And so he storms off. You guys wait maybe only about 10 minutes, and then Jones kind of opens up the door of this hangar that you guys pulled into, and he waves you in.
Is there anything you wanted to say on the way there? Because if the trooper's following us,
They fall back and just kind of do what they do. So
there's some time for us to speak.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
What was on your mind, Matt?
Well, I'm concerned with the reality grenades. I'm concerned if that reality changes, what effect is it going to have on us? We're going to need to be prepared. The other thing I was concerned about is if the reality grenades are some form of technological advancement via this Dr. Aspartes or Professor Aspartes, how easy is it going to be for us to find him and deal with him? And what are the chances he's not going to be fanatically behind Mobius?
It sounds like it's going to be a risk we're going to have to take.
That's all I was thinking.
I don't see another way around this, but we do need to be prepared that he won't
be a willing participant.
Won't side with us.
And for the reality grenades, it seems only an issue if you're within core Earth. If you're already within the Nile, it's not going to continuously change because you're already in the Nile. So
no, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Azrael, but my understanding is the Nile reality would wash over me, affecting me because I'm actually of Tharkle. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though if we were within the Nile.
Right.
Yeah, because
it's an extra.
we're from other cosms, so it's going to turn anything that's like extra cosm into
or
the
at least
Nile
it's going to
cosm.
attempt. It'll be the same as us.
Change your weapons, change your clothes.
Right.
Change you.
Gotcha.
I mean, as long as you guys know how to use the weapons that are going to change into, I can clearly show you that.
It's just a risk that we're...
It could have detrimental effects on the two of us because what we have is integral to our workings.
Yeah.
And Iara, you don't have access to the energies that power what you can do, same situation. So, I mean, it suggests that potentially if we end up in combat with these people, that the first thing we do is we try and neutralize the grenades.
Yes, definitely.
So prioritize stormtroopers.
Mm-hmm.
Shock troopers, sorry. Basically, sorry.
If they're stormtroopers, they'll miss us anyway.
Yeah.
Yep. So Musa.
So you guys go walking in. It's a hastily, erected just little conference table. And when you walk in, you see that there is a man there in his late 40s. He's very gaunt, but very hard-looking. Just this hard-looking man. He has an overly salted set of hair that's looks like perpetually disheveled. He's clean-shaven. He's a small man, only maybe about 5'6", 140 pounds, wearing a shabby brown suit and a yellow shirt and brown tie that kind of only makes his gaunt features take on a sickly pallor to it. He looks at each of you with these hard stone gray eyes. Everyone takes a seat around the table, and he sits down at the head of the table, and Jones says, "Musa, this is the team that I've been working with." Musa nods just kind of gravely, and he says, "Unfortunately, it has been a difficult time, and quite honestly, a bad time for you to enter the Nile Empire at this point. To be perfectly honest, I would not normally give you the time needed, but Director Sebastian himself has ordered me to provide as much as we can for the success of your mission, so I hope that it is worth it. Unfortunately, right now, as you can see the staging and the movements, we are expecting a pending invasion as Mobius is expanding westward. We have gotten intelligence reports of his army mobilizing in Benghazi, and on top of that, it has been confirmed that at least 2 of the mystery men have seen spotted working within Benghazi."
I'm sorry, who's the mystery men? You said like we should know who they are.
Yeah.
The mystery men, they are a coalition of costume heroes dedicated to fight Mobius. They are from Terra. You know that's the homeland of the Nile Empire.
Oh, okay.
You would know of the mystery men.
Oh, okay.
Too. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah. So the 2 that have been seen in there is the Raven and Ensign Egypt. So for those that don't know, this is the Nile Empire book. That's Ensign Egypt on the cover.
And they work against him.
They do indeed, but they are not Delphi. We have a working alliance with the mystery men, so we do not believe that they are there to help the invasion efforts.
When do you believe the invasion is going to happen?
Any moment.
Hours, days, weeks?
Minutes to days, weeks maybe, any moment.
I'm watching Jones through all this as he's saying things. How is Jones reacting?
Jones is sitting back, just arms crossed, with this scowl that seems to be deepening each time that Musa is explaining things as more dire and dire and dire. Jones does not look happy.
The coalition that's here currently, this is Delphi Council, and I'm kind of pointing in generally around the tent.
Most of this is funded by Delphi Council, but unfortunately the troops are not. It's a ragtag coalition of what's left of the AEE, troops down from Italy, a few of the American armed forces that were stranded here, which remain to be able to help fight the efforts, and then of course some Delphi troops.
American, that's where the Delphi Council started.
It is.
So, Jones, why aren't they part of the Delphi Council?
This particular garrison, it is in and of itself Delphi minus the name.
Okay.
What can you tell us about Professor Aspartes?
We don't know much of Professor Aspartes. A little over a week ago when I got word to seek him out, the agents that we sent into the Nile to be able to recon as much, only 2 were able to send missives out. He apparently is the head of the Department of Interpretive and Applied Reality at the University of Benghazi. He appears to have been transformed from core Earth when the invasion began, and it's said that he might be hunchbacked from an injury during the initial invasion. Unfortunately, that's all the intelligence that we have on him.
Do you know what he studied before the invasion?
I don't know. Records that we attempt to find online regarding a staff directory at the university may or may not be accurate, and a Professor Aspartes was not listed on that. But, that may have been impacted from the lower tech axiom of the Nile Empire when they landed. I apologize, but this was given to me on short notice, and I'm dealing with the pending crisis here.
Understandable.
I was able to procure you a mode of transport to get into the Nile. It is a era-appropriate vehicle. It is based off of an old Model T that we've been able to armor. And I believe that the best route is just going to be a drive along the Libyan coastal highway. Normally we would arrange for a military transport, but due to the high tensions right now, we think that would spark off what's going to be an upcoming battle.
How long will it take us to get there?
Normally it would be only about an 8-hour drive, but due to the lower tech of the vehicle, is probably going to expand out to about a 12-hour drive.
Where will we refuel?
We'll provide fueling for you.
Do you have an idea of cover in case we get stopped?
Well, unfortunately, any Delphi Council paperwork would be an invitation to either capture or torture and questioning. What we do have been able to provide is appropriate era clothing to be able to provide to you, so that way it is a better chance for you to blend in. Any questions?
I don't have any.
Do we have paperwork that goes with this clothing by chance? Anything like that? That would kind of help. I'm not sure what kind of identification they would have in the Nile Empire, but...
You don't know?
I mean, I personally, as a player, I don't know. Sorry, out of character.
Let's see, out of character. What would they have in the 1930s?
I mean, I'd imagine they just had like a paper ID card. It's something they had.
I would think so.
Yeah, something that could be actually, easily forged.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
very easily.
Draft
forged,
card.
Like it was
Easily.
something somebody typed on a typewriter?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then stamped it with a seal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or embossed.
Or embossed.
They did do embossing then.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think something like that. And so, back in character, Musa says, we have arranged for our forgers to put together the best that we can. We believe should get you through if you're stopped on the border.
Perfect. Thank you.
Ufa, can you use your identification here, or...
You don't want me to use that.
Okay.
I'll take a forged one, thank you.
If there's no other questions, allow me to leave you with this. Due to the activity that's currently within Benghazi, you may come across multiple factions of interest in the city. Remember, you are Delphi. Maintain that loyalty. If you can, a secondary mission is to recruit Professor Aspartes to the Delphi Council. His knowledge could be invaluable in this war. May fortune smile upon your endeavor.
You as well.
And he gets up and he walks out, leaving you in the room with Jones. Jones kind of blows out a sigh. It's worse here than I thought it.
So what does this mean? I mean, does it change anything with the mission?
I don't think so. As a matter of fact, I think it actually ups the priority of the potential shard to recover in Nile. I think it'd be worse to try to recover the Breifne shard if Nile was in a full-blown war. Or active battle, I should say.
So Ufa, what can you tell us about the Raven or this Ensign Egypt? Are these people we're going to be able to potentially recruit for the Delphi Council, or at least be able to connect with?
I believe that we can connect with them. Our interests do align. My concern is they march to their own, to be their own drum. They have their own goals, so we have to just be mindful of that.
The mystery men are, them to be standalone, heroic.
Yeah.
Heroic, but more along the lines of, sometimes more anti-hero, as in, the get the job done.
Yeah, more Deadpool. But maybe not that.
maybe not as brutal as Deadpool, more like...
I don't know, Doc Samson, Man of Bronze.
But... they're not going to worry about, like Deadpool wouldn't care if innocents got harmed as long as the job got done. The mystery men wouldn't let innocents die, but they're not going to care of the ruling faction. If they get in the way of it, then, they'll go and outlaw themselves to make sure that the job gets done that they've set forth.
Yeah. Like you said, not as brutal.
Not as brutal, yeah.
Yeah.
Has anything changed as far as the Ulisses Spiele new version? Nile used to be basically pulp heroes, so you're thinking Flash Gordon, you're thinking Indiana Jones works as far as time period, you're thinking Doc Samson, Man of Bronze, Tarzan, those type of things. And then the heroes, the superheroes that, we mostly know DC heroes from that time, but, Iron Man, Hawkman, those kind of characters.
Right.
Is that still what Ulisses Spiele has done for the feel for the mystery men? Are they basically a 40s superhero group?
Yes, still 40s superhero group, not necessarily relying on like cosmic power or mutant power, more along the lines of Captain America, Batman, humans that have been augmented by, whatever pulp power.
Mechanical, electrical, those kind of things.
Yes, not necessarily cosmic.
Like
So
science did it.
Well, right, but weird science.
Iron Man could be here.
Potentially.
Well, I
yeah.
mean, like it's not like like you said, it's not like X-Men where somehow they're born with
Right.
magic. It was
They've learned how to use the magic.
yeah.
But there are different pulp realities like flight and eye-beams from the eyes. So it's the more lines of like Catwoman, Elektra, Batman.
Like super campy superheroes.
But humans that have gone above and beyond, and so like with the Raven. The Raven wears black with the Black Raven mask, and then she has a bullwhip that she fights with. Ensign Egypt is what looks like a teenage girl, very outgoing, very enthusiastic, but she wears a red costume, carries a shield, and has a black hijab and a mask. So it's not necessarily wouldn't be Iron Man with like the full suit.
Ensign Egypt's Captain America.
Yeah, ultimately. Yeah. So again, here's a picture of Ensign Egypt amongst some of the other mystery men. So when it comes to like pulp powers, it's along those lines, not necessarily gamma radiation that change them.
Right. And all the mystery men from our world could be there. The Shoveler,
Yeah, totally.
Kid.
Yeah.
The Shoveler. Oh yeah, that's awesome.
The Sphinx.
I haven't thought about them in a long time.
And so Jones just kind of shaking his head. He's like, I think at this point, I would advise speed over everything else. Get in, get out as soon as you can.
Well, our problem is pretty simple. We don't know where the shard is. And we don't even have a starting point.
Except for Aspartes.
Yeah,
Yeah, Spartans
Benghazi.
would be the one.
The University of Benghazi.
All right. Well, I'm ready.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
What time is it?
It's about 10:30 at night.
Okay.
Good time to travel.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should get most of our going done in the dark.
There are suitcases lined up in the back of the wall, and with name taped on each of them. And so when you guys find your respective names, you open it up, and it is very 1930s era, clothing.
So, like, I have a pencil skirt.
So nice, all the way down to your ankles. Of course, long sleeved.
Or the Amelia Earhart pop-out pants look.
Yeah.
Pokey, like the pointy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And then of course, like the little derby style hat that kind of comes down, and proper handbag to put things in. And
White gloves. Yep.
And the guys is 3-piece suits with either ascot tie or bow tie, and the accompanying fedora.
Yeah.
This is extremely uncomfortable.
I'm okay with the glove because I've got that robot hand and it'll like dead giveaway me, so I'm okay with the glove. Yeah. But the rest of it is not.
The glove is all I'm okay with.
One white glove.
I could be just checking for dust.
I'm wearing them both.
The inspector. You go by the inspector. It's not a real great power, but it's one that comes in handy. We should clean this.
So who dons the garb?
I do.
Me.
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
I am going to try and figure out how to get the ascot and the buttons to relax on me. I'm sure they've got it cut big enough, but
It was pretty short notice, so it's
it's not cut big enough.
It's cut big enough.
It might be a sleeveless shirt.
It's cut big enough, but like the shoulders are either too tight, the sleeves are a little too long, the crotch is a little too high, so it's just not comfortable.
Yeah.
It wasn't tailored for you.
There's going to be some wardrobe malfunctions.
Right. Well, we're going into heat. This is my concern. I mean, I wear what I wear because I'm used to the heat. What should have been a nuclear winter and was not in my realm.
The two of you, or the three of you, have camisoles, to be able to actually protect from the, provide shade.
I feel
Camisoles or
ridiculously-
parasols?
It's going to be a
Parasol.
yeah, the parasol.
Camisole. I was like camisoles. Wait.
Yeah.
I
I understood what he meant. Yeah. Yes. So I'm like, what is this?
So when you
spin it, that's what you just spin it.
Like
Right.
you're like, like
Yeah.
Right. You guys are looking at it as a weapon.
it's like moving
Does it
air.
shoot?
Yeah.
No, it's
Just a
just
sword?
just for the sun.
It doesn't seem to block out much of the sun.
It's decorative.
then leading out, there is pretty much a Model T Ford
That's pretty cool.
that is out there waiting for you. Who has the skilled land vehicles?
I feel like he should just drive anyway since he's from here.
I surprisingly don't have land vehicles.
I don't have land
I don't have
vehicle.
land
It's
vehicles.
from what I know, you don't need to be trained in it in order to use
That's
it.
No,
correct.
yeah.
So I can drive. I have no problem. It's actually perfectly in my realm.
My dex is very low, so
Yeah, I have a high dex, so we're good.
Yeah, you should.
Most of what I drive is two-wheeled or much bigger than this.
I don't drive.
Drive? What
So it looks like I'm
Where's the
driving.
range?
Yes, exactly.
Where's the reins?
Yeah.
So
Iara
this
drove.
here-
you say
Does
how
not
many
drive.
horsepower it is, and she's thinking, why are like
There's
how
no
many
horses. Where are the
in
horses?
Yeah. Wait a minute. How many horses are under the hood?
This is magic. This is a magical road.
I found a way to harness horses and put it into this metal box. You're like, harness horses? Yeah, of course you have to harness them.
Yeah.
Where are
Give
the
me
reins?
give me a horse and I'm good.
Unfortunately, that would stick out like a sore thumb.
Fortunately, Iara's been, traveling enough
Yeah,
now,
I'm-
so it's
yeah.
not things. But still, it kind of, it's super weird.
Yes.
Well, we've been in armored military vehicles this whole time, or like aircrafts. I don't think we've been in a car yet. have
No, first
Yeah.
time.
we? Yeah.
So
Except for
been-
like SUVs and stuff like that a little bit, but
But I'm sure after being in some sort of aircraft, you're like, yeah, this is fine.
I kind of like the fact that none of us in the group can ever say, "Oh, well, this is this," because it never is.
Yeah.
Is this the kind of car you have to crank from the front to turn on?
Not
No.
quite that old.
Yeah, it's not that old. This is like the quintessential mobster car.
Yeah, I was going to say
Like
that's. yep.
bootlegger?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like where the mobsters are standing on the side rail holding on with a Tommy gun.
Yep.
So it's that car.
So listen, copper, you see.
Yeah. Hey, you mugs. So yeah, that's this car. You can fit one in the driver's seat, one in the passenger seat, and squeeze 3 in the back, but it is very crowded.
And it is not comfortable.
No,
it is.
What shocks?
Oh man, no! It's
You feel every bump and pebble.
And the seats are not cushioned, so it's
and there's no climate control whatsoever. In fact, there are blankets to hand out when it gets cold. It's your car blanket. That is actually true.
It's also used to cover dead bodies.
Oddly convenient, right? So you guys pile in, and Ofa starts it up.
All right, let's do this. And
Do you know where you're going?
That way.
East.
Along the coastal.
I'm guessing I don't look really inspired right now.
Musa said it was the Libyan coastal highway, and so follow that along the coast.
It's the main highway. You can't miss it.
It's the LCH.
Yeah. What's over there? Desert and no road.
What's out there? The Mediterranean. Pretty much.
Yeah, like it's yeah.
Maybe one time we should bring a map.
There's got to be a map in here somewhere. I'm like looking in the glove compartment, the only glove compartment, and there's a pair of gloves in there.
In the glove compartment.
Who knew?
But they're not white.
Yeah. They're for changing tires. So, thick and leather. At any rate, I started to go off and I put it into gear and then I grind the gear. Sorry guys, it's been a little bit. Crank it back up.
Pops the clutch, stalls it out as you guys lurch forward.
I hit my head on the seat.
I got this.
It takes it takes a little to get used to it, but eventually go ahead and make a roll.
All right.
For size, are the two of you? We know that Ava is smaller, but are you two? Should I be riding in the front? That's the question.
I think I'm like 6 footish.
No, I'm a tiny fiend, so.
Okay,
I'll
so
fit wherever.
I think the two men are in front for no other reason than one's driving, the other one's big.
And some modicum of comfort.
I have knee room back here. You're good.
Yeah. I'm like regular size, so you could probably sit behind me and have the knee room.
Ufa, do you have this?
Yeah, I should. Just give me a second here.
All right.
So 15.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. So once you got used to like the feel of the pedals, absolutely no problem.
Yeah.
You're able to drive and get the hang of it. I mean, it's within your reality, so you're not really having to push out further.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, every car's a little different. You just gotta know where the gear goes.
As the wind is coming through,
It smells like exhaust.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely the most uncomfortable ride ever.
It's heavy and very slow to respond, but that's also probably due to the armor.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Definitely. And we don't want to hit any soft sand. We want to try to coast through everything. So,
it's a hard, solid rubber tires. So there's just literally just every bump that you guys go over, it just rattles and clacks and just it is not a comfortable ride.
Oh, and my favorite, and I hit the horn.
Nice.
That will be an announcement.
Yeah, we're not going to do that again. Don't worry.
Do we see much on the road as we drive? Like other vehicles, armored vehicles, a line of troops?
So as you guys go through Tripoli and you start exiting it, you don't see much civilian traffic. So there's like, as big of a city as Tripoli is, the civilian traffic has really just kind of wind down. The people that ultimately stayed are bunkered down and just kind of waiting for the invasion. Those that had the means to leave had already left as military forces started staging in the area. So yeah, it is almost ghost townish when you're going through this major metropolitan city. What movement you do see is usually troop movement, either troop caravans or different hastily set up barricades. And, for those, no problem. You get a few odd looks, but no one stops you because you're not coming into Tripoli, you're leaving Tripoli. Out on the Mediterranean, you see a whole fleet of warships out there.
Are these Musa ships? Allied?
Allied.
So they look like our ships.
Yeah.
They look like the ships that we have moved about on. So
They look like Delphi ships that you've been on, like full-blown, just like modern battleships, frigates, carriers. So it's a full major super fleet out in the Mediterranean.
So I definitely want to keep an eye both there and on the road to see anything that's not modern, I guess would be the right word.
Okay. That first hour leaving Tripoli is when you guys really see the majority of that type of movement. Outside Tripoli, you can see just forces set up around the outskirts of the city as you start moving into the desert. And just like in the city, civilian populace out in the desert, those that can leave have, and those that haven't are either hunkered down within the city, behind protected troops. So it is really kind of eerily
Deserted.
empty out.
A deserted desert.
And then you start getting into the desert.
Do we ever come across people on like camel, like nomads on camels, like caravans kind of looking things?
No, I mean not this close into core Earth.
Okay.
It's just like I said, everyone knows a fight's coming.
Yeah.
and those that have the means to get out have gotten out.
Gotcha.
So Ufa, can I ask you, since we've learned a little bit about the upper level of these cosms, when you ended up as Tristan in the Living Lands, were you in the plane heading to either the Living Lands or the Delphi Council lands? I believe it's the United States.
I was told that the Amaranthi Inspector had some sort of meeting or a mission in the northeast United States, so that's where.
Okay, so you were flying to the United States.
Yes.
Okay, and so did you have any affected problems with because I'm assuming you grabbed a plane from your reality.
It did, yes.
So did you have any affected problems as you switched realities, as you moved from one to the other? Did you feel the change leaving the Nile, entering the core Earth reality?
I did feel the change, but it didn't affect the airplane until after the reality storm hit over the Living Lands.
Okay, so it appears that what you have is not affected by core Earth's reality. It makes sense why it was affected by Living Lands. Ours was as well, but as far as transferring out of Nile into core Earth, you didn't feel any effect?
Not in terms of the airplane, no.
Okay.
I mean, I knew that we were making that transition.
So you are able to feel it, and that's my question is, I don't know, will we see it? Did you see the change, or did you feel
I felt the change before I saw it.
Okay. All right, so we'll know it when we cross it.
Barring visual cues.
Like an actual storm.
Mobius is very much obsessed with himself and lays down obelisks and statues of himself.
Oh, really?
And of just think of.
So we'll see little stone statues along the way, the mile marker, those kind of things.
Yeah, those kinds of things. So things like we wouldn't what we've seen so far, and I think I've been here a little bit, like been observant a little bit here, just see like, okay, there's like signs that have things written on them. It's like you'd have like a stela, like a stone tablet, basically, instead of a sign.
Oh,
like things like that. Like that's what my land looks like.
Well, now that's what I'm looking for.
Like
those
money
visual
there,
cue changes.
It's a picture of Mobius.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like there's. I mean, and out of character, like the land is built in a way of ancient Egypt. Again, there are still very much like the regular buildings that you may see, like the big concrete buildings and things like that would reflect the 1930s. But outside of that, like large temples, large pyramids, obelisks, stela, and things like that.
And he's done the Ramses thing, where he's basically put himself in place of everything.
Yes.
And that's been part of why, like, the people, especially in Cairo, Egypt, why they love him, because he's, in Cairo, the mystery men are villains. They're
sure,
yeah,
because their beloved Pharaoh is larger than life. He is next to God.
Yeah, and he is bringing Egypt back into the fold, making it. For lack of a better term, making it great again.
So there's a little Black Adam story in him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Out of character, the Nile is over the top. So it is, it's not just bang. It's a, just explosion. People don't have,
Pow,
love
bam.
interest. They have torrid affairs. Nothing is done simple. It has to be big and huge, and there's always time for a monologue and
There's no subtlety.
So I mean,
Very deliberate.
I'm thinking
everyone.
like Star Trek original series overacting.
but that's every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the common people.
Yeah. So Nile is one person can actually make the heroic difference, because the law that's what the world law says, the law of heroes, and it's just everything is pow
Over the top.
ramped up to, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's at a 12.
Yeah. This one goes to 11.
So, all right, who is going to try to get sleep during this 12-hour drive?
I am.
Me.
I'm going to try to lean up against the wall of the car. I feel like being from Isle, it's probably not very comfortable.
It is so not comfortable. Yeah.
So,
Very, very not comfortable.
yeah.
Let's see here. Everyone go ahead and make who's trying to get some rest, a mind test, just to be able to...
Let's see if I can do that.
Like sleep, half sleep with one eye.
Now that would be a superpower.
So I'm watching, at this point, I am watching what Ufa's doing in hopes that I can get some idea of maybe how to drive it if I had to.
It seems simple enough. I mean, from you're smart enough, and in tech, the clutch is going to be the weirdest thing. Clutch and shifting the gears, but Ufa makes it look easy.
Yes. But the you said you were usually riding something with 2 wheels. Is that like motorcycles?
Right.
Yeah. So
Similar.
it's a very similar concept. It's just it's not a click. It's a
Clutch is on
It's
the
a clutch.
ground instead of on
1, 2, 3, 4.
Maybe when we get outside of Tripoli itself and on a road, if there does not seem to be too many obstructions, maybe you'll teach me.
Of course. Yeah.
It would be beneficial to have more than one of us able to drive.
Yeah.
And from a game mechanic standpoint, driving 12 hours and then going in, they potentially could cause a stymie, so you need to get some rest.
Yeah. I need to get something. at
trade
some
out
point.
at
Yeah.
some point.
Or pull over and sleep.
Yeah. That's not much of an option right now.
All right. So maybe in 30 minutes out of Tripoli, we'll switch positions.
Okay, so, yep.
And when I feel I've got it, I'll tell him to try and get some rest.
All right. You guys are trying to sleep and you hear the brakes. Yeah, that's there's no ABS here. It is just brakes on.
So, Max, go and make a land vehicles roll.
And I can assist with this, right? +1.
Yes, or you could roll to help him, but yes.
Yeah, I'll give him a +1.
Okay.
All right, so that's going to be an 11.
11, DN of 10. It's just such old, antiquated technology, so it's not as smooth as Ufa was, but yeah, you can drive.
I believe I understand the concept. If you wish to get some sleep, I will wake you if there's a need.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll do that, definitely. So, I'm sorry, what are we rolling for that?
Mind.
Mind? Oof.
I got a 12.
12? Yeah.
13.
I'm like,
Yeah.
That's okay.
So we get the vacation scene where all of us are asleep.
You have to go underneath the truck, though.
Right.
That would be an 11 for mind check.
So, the fact that you guys had to make a mind check should show that the difficulty of it, but it wasn't difficult.
Yeah.
So, it was a DN10.
Yeah. Cool.
So you're able to get some rest. It's not comfortable, and definitely might need to work out the kink on it. But when you get out, but for game mechanics, and like with the Nile, you never know. You may enter in, and all of a sudden your car may explode because it hit a landmine. It's the Nile Empire.
Yeah, they definitely still use those.
All right, maybe about halfway through, about 8 hours into the drive, you start seeing upon the horizon that very familiar heavy cloud broil, but here in the desert, what it looks like just this wall of sand that is swirling like just one big sandstorm, and it looks like the grains of sand themselves have turned red and blue as they're swirling back and forth.
So as I see that, I will slow and then stop and wake Ufa up.
Yeah. Oh, roll them up. Roll the windows up.
So this is what I was asking. You've been through this before? In this type of vehicle?
Not in this type of vehicle.
Okay. I am not going to drive. I'm going to leave it to you.
All right,
Your capable
that's
hands.
fine. I mean, theoretically, should be okay, but we'll find out.
Beginning to not like that word.
All right,
I'm
so
gonna be awake now.
Yeah.
do you want to make another
Stopping
drive
wakes
check?
me up
Or-
too.
No, we're good. Okay. It was just to figure it out once. And then
Exactly.
Go for it. Okay. I'm like, all right, guys. Well, just be on alert.
Okay.
Here
And
goes
so while
nothing.
you're out, you fill up gas. You fill it up,
Yeah.
and
Are we taking them off jerry cans?
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And you guys make that, drive about 3.5 hours into it. All of a sudden, you can see just this, almost impenetrable wall of red and blue sandstorm, lightning every once in a while forking out from it, as very eerily you drive into the storm. I need everyone but you to make a reality test.
How are you doing? Roll on your side.
16.
16,
11.
11,
7.
7. So, as you enter into the storm, and so you just feel that now kind of familiar sensation of just coming into a new reality, and boom, it just hits you. You guys are able to go ahead and fight it off, Azrael, for a moment. So you actually see yourself changing into what Nile sees you how to be. And so like you get these brief moments of being just this costume hero with lightning dancing about your hands, and you kind of feel yourself wanting to take up arms in the fight and go fight for justice and what's right. And for a moment you guys just kind of see Azrael just kind of zone out and gunk up against the window as you momentarily disconnect, and you end up fighting it off because you are reality rated, but you end up taking 2 shock from that.
I have Realm Runner.
Oh.
I ignored the
You
first
ignored-
connection.
That's right. So
That was a good story, though.
so you
All that happens and then Realm Runner
and
comes
then,
in.
all that happens, and you're like, just kind of shake your head. You're like, wait a minute, and whoop, and you come back to you, and you guys enter in to the Nile Empire and Benghazi, and we'll go and end this session right here.
Nice.
Voice.
Thank you for joining us on another NCRP Productions podcast. We couldn't do this without you, so please like and subscribe everywhere we're found, including YouTube, Facebook, Anchor, Google, Apple, Spotify, and other great podcast sites. If you'd like to help us continue making more content, we'd love to have your support on our Patreon. And we'd like to give a special shout out to our current patrons, our Siegson Employees of the Month, Michael H., Greg K., F.S., and our Breaker of Seals, Frank H., Christopher C., Matthew K. Thank you all. We truly, truly appreciate it. And a very special thanks to our fantastic artist, Jacob Blackmon, who you can reach on his Patreon under his name, or Deviant Art under the name Prodigy Duck.